It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from me. It's just gonna solidify everything from Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Laura, is he gonna be able to find these shots true?
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes the Navlet, immediately goes back to fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2-3, so back and forth.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the playoffs. We've got our first match of CGL Season 13's postseason here between Smelvin Industries and Meow in our EU console open tier. I am joined by Dexatron. Dex, are you ready to get this postseason underway?
Man, I am ready to get this underway here, and what a matchup we have to start off here. Number 4 Smelvin Industries going up against number 5 Meow, a game that both me and you were talking about, coming into it here is going to be a really good game. These two teams very close in the regular season, but hey, that's all behind us now as we head into the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, these teams, like you said, very, very close, 4 and 5. Smelvin Industries 6 and 2 during the regular season. Meow 5 and 3. Smelvin number 2 in their group. Meow number 3 in their group. I mean, these teams for a first round matchup, like you couldn't ask for a closer match here. The tendency is for first round matches to be a blowout, but if I expect any match to be really, really close, it's this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we already talked about there, the records, what seeds they are, but just how close these two teams are. And Fletch, you also have to throw in the fact that, hey, it's a patch day. Season 10 started a little bit over an hour ago now. So are we going to be able to see what's going on here in this one tonight with all the patches and stuff?
Yeah, should be a lot of fun here. A bunch of hero changes, a new hero in the pool. We've got our 39th, something like that. I don't know if that's the right number, but Venture is in the hero pool. They should be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, I had a little lag spike, but yeah, should be really interesting here.
Yeah, Venture, I mean, that new hero, it's going to be really interesting to see if anyone actually decides to play them. But me and you kind of talked about this before coming in here. Like, it's brand new patch. We don't necessarily know if the teams are going to be fully ready for it. Maybe we're going to see them just kind of stick with what they were playing before, and the next game kind of think that they would start adapting to the changes here. Or maybe these teams have been preparing for the changes that got leaked a little bit earlier than what were probably expected. But, it's going to be interesting to see what they want to do here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, no Orisa changes. I think one of the bigger changes that we see in this patch is the Wrecking Ball buffs, where basically when you pop Adaptive Shield, you can choose to give your teammates a small little bit of overhealth, like a Junker Queen shout without the speed boost. But I mean, it gives Wrecking Ball a whole new level of team utility that he just didn't have before. So I think that Wrecking Ball is probably coming up to being in a really good spot. I do, however, expect Orisa to still be, one of the front runners coming into this Season 10 patch because, frankly, they didn't change her.
Yeah, they didn't change her enough, but you know, when we were looking at those patch notes, we noticed a lot of tanks, most of them getting buffs, whether minor or major, like maybe the ball being a major buff there. Some were kind of, you know, little technical things. The Sigma change, not necessarily one that I think will make or break him or have teams play him a little bit more there. Junker Queen's a little bit interesting. You did say that one of the players on one of these teams does like to run Junker Queen, so maybe we see that here tonight. But Fletch, I think we've been kind of talking long enough. Let's see what map we're going to be heading to here to start off the playoffs. And it's going to be Lijiang Tower, which is...
Lijiang Tower is not in the map pool.
Yeah, it's not in the map pool.
I don't really know where to go from here. So I'm going to talk about Lijiang Tower as if we're going to Lijiang Tower just to feel a little bit... Oh, okay, it's Nepal. All right.
Okay.
All right, it's Nepal. Get baited, everyone. It's Nepal, which I think for the most part is still going to be Orisa centric. I think that there are some okay points where Wrecking Ball would be okay, like you see there on Shrine. I feel like Wrecking Ball can be a very, very chaotic tank in the mix there, slamming up and down all over the map. But I do expect Orisa to still be what comes out.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you, but I would not be surprised to see if someone else wants to try to bring out one of those other tanks. That was kind of a change today as well. Maybe a Junker Queen, like you said. One of the players does like to play Junker Queen, even though, yeah, the change that was made to Junker Queen was very minimal. It still is 15 extra damage on that knife, but I mean, you have to start looking down at DPS as well. I mean, Tracer was nerfed a little bit. Same thing with Sombra. So that ball, I mean, does become a little bit of a more, you know, favorable pick since that virus does not do that 100 damage anymore, only does 90. So I would imagine when you're hacked, it only does 180, which to a ball, I mean, that's not necessarily a lot.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Tracer's nerfs, I don't think that they'll kill Tracer, frankly.
No.
You know, the nerf specifically was to her recall, which was the biggest one. Oh, I guess we're in the map.
Yeah, looks so. D.Va and Ramatra to start up here, completely different than what we really kind of thought there. So it looks like one team wants to play a little bit of rush, one team wants to play a little bit of dive there, but I mean, not necessarily what we were expecting here. Ramatra and D.Va, both tanks, I don't really think were affected that much or at all in the Season 10 patch here.
Yeah, oh, man, I don't know. And you saw both teams still running the Tracer, which I think is proof enough that the recall, while it'll probably be a little bit more annoying during the mid fights, it doesn't really change the skill ceiling. In fact, it even raises the skill ceiling a little bit of Tracer, where the really good Tracer players who know how to manage their cooldowns will be just that much more lethal, and the ones who don't will be, you know, that much more punishable. I think we saw, for the split second that we were in there, that we saw a Sojourn. Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean Ramatra has been like relatively higher tier, you know, for a while, I guess. You know, obviously outshined by the likes of Maga and Orisa recently, but I feel like it's just really interesting. I'm not really sure what the plan is here, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, it's really interesting seeing that D.Va as well, because if you want to be a team that's running dive, a lot of teams have been, you know, selecting the Winston over the D.Va here, so you might be wanting to try to do something a little bit different here, but looks like we're in game already, Fletch.
All right, a little bit of ping issues here, but right now, nobody is dead on either side as Mori on this high ground trying to find something with the railgun. Not going to find much, but Smelvin will find the early clip here. Mori sitting at a cool 65 HP, rips too slow apart, and it will be Meow that has to get out first.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, Slayer just looking to keep himself in the mech right there. Going to be able to, but at the cost of their own support there of Karma, it's going to have to be a reset here for Meow. And honestly, this entire comp is kind of based on how good Slayer can do just to distract people and allow Fat Dad to get that opportunity to land those sticky bombs, get that focusing beam down to try to melt down someone like Mori, someone like Arda here.
Right. Slayer decides to take the fight to the point, and the rest of Meow will follow. Fat Dad still fighting from the skybox, trying to find something, anything. Mori will get traded for Cubes. Adam uses the recall early, but Slayer tracks the Tracer down. The Ravenous Vortex out from Arda, as that was a really strange flight path there for the D.Va. Slayer very, very low, but able to stay in the mech right here. Arda will not be alive for much longer. Slayer runs the Ramatra down, and Meow will take over.
Yeah, another thing we didn't necessarily talk about, Moira's kinetic grasp got a little bit nerfed here, so they won't be able to do the same damage, but they did get a slight buff back with their Coalescence being able to heal up themselves a little bit faster. But now you're coming into a fight here with ultimates. If you're Meow, I mean, you're looking for Fat Dad to land a nice duplicate onto someone like Arda here, in my opinion. But if you're Smelvin, I mean, Adam has that Pulse Bomb ready to go, and I would not be surprised if they're looking for a support.
All right, Karma used the Ant Matrix early, and Smelvin just walked right under it. You see Fat Dad over here still has this Duke, will use it on the Tracer. Now the sound barrier out from Robbie Hash to try and keep the team durable. As Fat Dad has a Pulse Bomb, throws it out, does not find a target, but Smelvin Industries has all of the targets right now. The duplication fades away, Fat Dad dies, and Smelvin Industries will take over and begin progressing once more.
And 3 ultimates there used for Meow come back to result in almost nothing. Well, really for Smelvin, it was 1. That beat from Robbie Hash. Look at Smelvin now in such a better place. They have those 3 ultimates. That Annihilation could be used if a fight gets brought here to point 2. Slow's Pulse Bomb, though, becomes a lot more important now as Seb pops that Coalescence.
Seb throws out the Coalescence, gets the D-Mech onto Slayer, finishes the kill onto the D.Va, and Meow cannot push in without their D.Va.
Yeah, and right now Meow is just struggling. They're gonna have to get someone back to get a touch here. You do have a beat and a Pulse Bomb still, so those are 2 things that could buy you a little bit of time here if you are Meow.
Oh no! Devastating for Meow is the loss of Karma. Too Slow will get the touch. Sound barriers out from Q's, but did not hit Fat Dad. I mean, Mori right now going to town with the revolver. Roll out, kill onto Slayer. That will do it here on Nepal Village. Smelvin Industries, 99, now 100 to 40%.
Yeah, only 1 fight lost there for Smelvin, and it was just it was an understandable fight loss. Meow came in, got an early pick there, and Smelvin just kind of stood on a point as long as they could. But I mean, again, we talked about it a little bit here. The D.Va pick here for Slayer, a very interesting pick, because if you're wanting to run dive, I mean, the Winston is probably the better option here. But as I say that, Fletch, we're seeing the Orisa come back out, and honestly, with this comp they're kind of running here, I'm not necessarily surprised by it. We still did think that Orisa would be played a lot, as it is only an hour and a half into the new patch.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like she also denies a lot of the survivability that Ramatra has, especially because, you know, that spear just cancels the block. So, I mean, this is going to be really, really interesting coming into this next fight. Smelvin, they want to play fast with this Moira versus the Baptiste. A little bit slower for Meow, but as we get into Nepal Shrine, we will see what these compositional differences will mean here. Now, the gold is out for the Orisa, the Fortify expended early. Right now, Arda just getting shoved into a corner. Their Cubes taking a lot of damage out the back around the corner. Gets a little bit of healing from Karma. Right now, neither of these teams, you know, has the definitive positioning right now. Smelvin Industries almost getting the cap here, but Arda continuing to just have to throw up the hands to stay alive, but it's enough to get Smelvin Industries the first flip here. Mori on a way off angle in the middle of nowhere is really interesting, but right now Adam marking this Tracer for Too Slow is, I mean, nobody's gone down, but Smelvin is going to cross 20% here in just a second. Adam has to use the recall, as does Too Slow. Too Slow very low, dead to the headshot of Mori. But it will be Meow that takes this first fight, but 25% for Smelvin.
Yeah, and Meow won that fight there because Karma was able to build to that Ant Matrix right there, found 2 kills off it, maybe even a 3rd there towards the end. But Smelvin, they were able to build to ultimates as well, but they didn't necessarily invest anything into that fight here, so this could be a pretty heavily invested ult fight coming in this next one here. The Coalescence from Seb will be something that gets used early. Cubes is going to have to use that beat to keep everyone alive, but Slayer and this Terror Surge here will be really important to try to shut down Smelvin as they look to come back in.
All right, early Coalescence from Seb answered by Cubes, and the Deadeye's Pig! 2 for Fat Dad, and this fight is already over for Smelvin Industries.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a bad fight there for Smelvin, but the best thing that they can take away from it is that they really only invested one ultimate into it, and we'll come in this next engagement here with 4, while Meow, I mean, they used a couple in that fight. Fat Dad and Cubes used their high noon and their beat there to keep everyone alive and find 2 early picks that really helped them win that fight there. And Smelvin, though, they're going to have these ultimates coming in. I have the feeling we're going to see exactly what Meow did that last time with Robbie Hash there, popping the beat early. That allows Smelvin to get a little bit aggressive here, and maybe allows Arda here to pop that Annihilation to just try to open something up for them.
The Deadeye comes out. The Deadeye finds 2 for Mori! The answer is perfect from Mori here. Finds a couple of shots on it to Karma, who has to use the, immortality field, but Mori for 4. Oh my god.
And a beautiful fight there for Smelvin, because Meow did invest ultimates in that fight. They invested the Terror Surge and the Pulse Bomb. Nothing really helped them there in that fight. That high noon for Mori was just perfect. It found really 2 high value targets there. Now, if you're Smelvin, you're still holding on to Annihilation, and that's the only thing ready at the early point of this fight. Karma will be able to build to an Ant Matrix pretty fast, but I don't think Meow necessarily has the time here to just kind of do what they did that first fight. But Karma building up to that Ant Matrix fast might mean they might be able to get this thing off here in the next couple seconds.
All right, here we go. Slayer taking so much damage, but Karma taking even more. No chance to use the Ant Matrix, and 60% for Smelvin is the mark where Meow falls.
I might have cast a curse at Karma there, so my bad. But, I mean, Smelvin, just a great early fight win there. It was incredibly quick as well. You're going to be able to get the lead here. And now you've built up to 4 other ultimates that will be ready at some point this fight, as long as you don't have a situation that Meow had where you lose someone early. But you're looking at Meow again, and it's going to be Karma, the only one that has something ready to go early. Fat Dad and their Deadeye will be something that comes up soon, but how aggressive are they going to be with it?
Let them up. Here we go. Ant Matrix is out from Karma here as Smelvin passes 90%. The Ramatra in the backline has the Annihilation, will find so much damage, and Smelvin Industries knows that they can put this map away right here, right now. All the ultimates they have came out, and Cubes used the sound barrier. The Ajax is the punctuation on Nepal. Smelvin Industries takes map number 1.
And just a good map here from Smelvin, honestly, it was. I mean, Meow did show some signs of life, but Smelvin, I mean, they were smart, they were methodical with it all. They didn't necessarily overinvest into any fight, and anytime they did maybe overinvest a little bit, they were able to find a lot of value with it, and it really worked out for them. Now, Meow, I mean, you can see this is going to be a very, very close match, but they have to be able to deal with this tank and this DPS lineup here for Smelvin Industry, because it is giving them a little bit of problems, allowing that support line to find a lot of value, and as well as have the Cassidy's for both sides actually find a lot of value with their Deadeyes.
Yeah, speaking of the Deadeyes, that's crazy. What a terrible ultimate to get so much value out of. I mean, 2 Deadeyes for 2 2Ks, like, from 2 Cassidys, for that matter. I mean, that's a little bit silly, but I mean, Smelvin, they played their patience well, and they played their ultimate rotations well. They responded perfectly to everything Meow had to answer, basically with the exception of that very first fight, where they still got 25% on the point, where they were still playing patient, but that Ant Matrix did just kind of break that fight open. But it does feel like the tempo that Smelvin wants to play at with the Moira instead of the Baptiste that Meow has, it's just kind of bullying them back. Right? Yeah. The response that Meows have been okay. Like, they've had some really good fights here and there, but with the speed that Smelvin is playing at, it just kind of feels like Meow is kind of turned around.
Yeah, and you kind of saw it there on that last point when you did see Meow. You never necessarily saw that Ramatra take on a head-to-head battle with it. Whenever that Orisa would come in, they would actually try to back up away from it, because they immediately would come in, investing that Fortify, investing that Spear Spin. So they waited for those to go away before really anything happened. So just some smart plays coming out there from Smelvin Industries right there. They go up 1-0 in the series. Remember, our first to 3 here in the playoffs up until the grand finals. But I mean, again, we saw signs of life there from Meow. It just seemed like whenever they were able to win fights, it was because they had good ult investment, but sometimes, especially on that second point, you saw him invest 3 ultimates into one fight to hold on to the point after they captured initially. Smelvin only used one, and that was the biggest reason that Smelvin was immediately able to come back in and find value and find one of those 2Ks with the Deadeye right there that really opened up the map for them.
Yeah. And it will be Meow's map pick going into map number 2. It's going to be hybrid, I believe.
Yes.
Our map pool is going to be Eichenwald, Paraiso, Midtown, or Hollywood. And based on the compositions that we saw what, a Sigma and an Orisa out of Meow. I feel like most of them, with the exception of like Diva. Did we see Diva? Okay.
Yeah, we saw Diva from Meow.
I'm stupid. Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels like all of these maps would be okay for what Meow wants to do. I mean, if you want to try that and run that Diva again, Paraiso is a a great map to run that on. I'm just gonna stop talking about the different maps because we do have a map selection. It's gonna be Hollywood for Meow.
And when you talk about Hollywood, you have to talk about the first 2 points, in my opinion, kind of being a little bit of a dive map, built around dive. You want to play on those high grounds, you want to get up to that high ground, really open up the map for you here. So yeah, dive kind of fits that one here. And especially since it's Meow picking this map, you did talk about already, they played the Diva there. And I would say, yeah, Diva is a good dive tank, but at the moment, the Winston is probably still the stronger dive tank. Maybe come out with a Wrecking Ball here. Brand new patch. I don't necessarily know if either of these teams have a Wrecking Ball player or someone who is proficient enough that they feel confident running it, especially an hour and a half into the new patch here. But it would be really interesting to see. However, like we've been saying all series long, Fletch, I just don't think anyone's necessarily going to go too far into the rabbit hole of the patch notes to play any of those new characters yet. But we did see a Moira who was affected a little bit, but it still seemed like Smelvin Industries was able to use that Moira to, great success at most points.
Yeah, I really did like the Moira because if you're gonna play the Moira, you have to understand that you are playing at about the fastest speed that you can. Because if you do not play quickly, Moira has a lot of raw healing output, but it doesn't come out fast.
Mhm.
Right? And especially with the DPS passive that we saw introduced last season, it's way more important for these Moira compositions to be the speed blitzing comps that we've seen from them. With this Ramatra that Smelvin is playing, being, you want to run up into their face as fast as you can and pummel them down. So I mean, even though Moira did receive a slight nerf in this patch, I don't feel like it was enough to ward off that fact. In fact, I think it even makes her more likely to want to play fast because she can't duel as effectively anymore because her damage is a little bit lower.
Mhm.
But if you can build up to that coalescence, it does even more.
Yeah, I mean, it does even more, and the biggest thing with the Coalescence was that she got that self-healing kind of buff there as well, so it means that she can be a little bit more aggressive when she pops that Coalescence because she can, get closer to everyone and be, a little bit safer here, but I mean, we didn't necessarily see anything too surprising on that first map, other than the Diva, in my opinion, and the 2 Cassidys. But the Cassidys were able to find value, and we've started to see that Cassidy pick in these last couple of weeks, especially in CGL and in the OWCS, be a pick that is made kind of often here to just try to, nullify the Tracer. And while it didn't necessarily have that effect on Nepal, they were able to just do so much there. I mean, that magnetic grenade, the hindrance, is still a very big thing to deal with here. Cassidy still does a decent amount of damage at short range, which for the most part, that's where both those Cassidys were playing them. It's just interesting to see them there. But I mean, heading into Hollywood here, we still kind of have to, wait to see what both teams are going to play. If you're Smelvin, I mean, if you're Smelvin, I would say probably just stick with what you were running there. I mean, it looked good, and Meow was only able to beat you a couple times with it here. But Fletch, it looks like the the new patch. It looks like it's not being kind to the servers.
Yeah, right now these EU servers, our players have 200 plus ping at the moment. So we're trying to get that fixed, but I do want to talk about the Cassidy again, right? Because for a very very long time Cassidy was seen as this character who doesn't do anything particularly well, right? Um, Sojourn's just better at long range and short range for that matter, for a very long time. But here recently, it's really interesting that when we see these Orissas, which technically could be considered poke at some points,
Mhm.
but when you're playing these Orissas and especially Orissa mirrors, you're always up in the face of somebody. And Cassidy just deals so much damage when you're up in people's faces. Like it's ridiculous. And then, like you said, that magnetic grenade to try and dissuade tracers from flanking and trying to take down your backline. I mean, it's such an interesting thing because Cassidy hasn't really been considered good for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. But you've started to see it at other levels, like to talk about the high noon or the dead eye. I mean, it's become something that it's not necessarily looked at as a very scary ultimate, but it definitely does buy your team a little bit of time because most of the time the enemy team does not want to be in that eyesight of the Cassidy, so they just back off a little bit. It gives your team that moment to kind of catch their breath and think about what they're gonna do once that dead eye kind of goes away. But I mean, we're seeing great value out of it there on that first map. But hanging to Hollywood, I don't necessarily know how much value they're gonna get, because we've talked about Meow did run dive on the first point of Nepal, and in my opinion, that was the point that they looked weaker on. Once they went over to that Orisa, they looked a little bit better on that second point. So it'd be interesting to see if they wanted to run out here on the dive on Hollywood just to try it out again. But it seems like Smelvin, if they're gonna come back out with this Ramatra comp that they were running, you would probably see that Sojourn come back out. It worked out really well for them on that first point, and when they went over to the Cassidy on the second point, it still worked out well. Hell, maybe even a little bit better.
Yeah, it kind of feels like the hit scan situation, at least historically for Smelvin Industries, has uh, been very, very good to them because they've got a great hit scan right now in, I believe it was Mori, if I'm not wrong. I could be wrong about that, but last season we see Robbie Hash on the Lucio right now. But last season Robbie was a breakout for Smelvin in the EU console open tier, and Smelvin got pretty far. So I mean, their hit scans historically have been very, very strong. Sojourn, Cassidy, Ash, all those guys, all those heroes have been very, very strong. And Smelvin as a team, they're just here to have fun. They're just some silly guys. And I think the nonchalant attitude that they carry is what's made them such a good team over the last couple of seasons, because they're just a group of friends who are having fun playing the game, who also happen to be very good at the game.
Mhm.
And it's always a lot of fun to get to watch Smelvin play.
Yeah, that's what's so great about some of these tournaments. I mean, like you said, these are Smelvin is a team that's just full of friends, and they're really, really good at the game, and it makes them one of the more, and what makes, in my opinion, one of the scariest teams here in CGL. They're really good, and they know each other really well, so they know how to play, they know how to calm each other down, and honestly, they know how to maybe push the right buttons to try to get someone to step it up. And for a team like Meow, that has to kind of make it a little bit worrying, because you don't want to necessarily make anyone mad to the point where someone on Smelvin knows exactly what to do to turn that rage back into something that Meow would regret here. But Fletch, it does seem like the players are back in a lobby here. So hopefully we're getting back into Hollywood here soon. But I mean, we've been harking on it since the map pick here, expecting a little bit of dive. Do we see the Diva? Do we see the Winston? I would lean towards the Winston, but Meow on that first point did show us Diva.
I mean, I don't hate the Diva. I think she's really good at Peel specifically. That's what she's always been good at, is defending her backline. I don't necessarily hate it. I think it's definitely less of Winston is better, Diva is worse, and more like Meow is just more comfortable on Diva. If that's what we're gonna see. If they run a dive, I do expect it to be the Diva. For Smelvin, I'm not really sure what their plan is here on these first two maps, because they could get just out verticaled by a Diva composition here if they come out on the Ramatra. It'll be really interesting, because I think we understand what Meow is probably going to do. Smelvin
Mhm.
Industries is more of a question mark for me right now.
I mean, if you're Smelvin, I would just say if you don't necessarily know, then just stick with what you are running here. It looks like the server is still not necessarily the best, but both these teams just want to play this series. So, 15 seconds before we see what, each team comes out with, Smelvin, since they didn't pick the map, pick the sides. And I would always say go with defense first so you know what you have to do in round 2 to either tie up the map or win the map here. And finally, we're going to get to see what the teams want to play. And 2 divas. That's honestly a kind of a shock for me. Yeah, Meow has the time here to make that change, but Smelvin, on the other hand, I mean, they're coming out with the diva. Fletch, I have to ask you, I mean, diva not necessarily been that dive tank we've been seeing a lot here. Is there something maybe with this patch that we don't know about that diva maybe got a little bit stronger?
My money is that they think that they know that Meow is going to come out on the diva themselves, and Arda is just predicting that they can defend Robbie Hash and Seb better than Slayer and Too Slow can dive them. That's my only guess.
Yeah, and you bring up a good fact there, because look at Robbie Hash. I mean, off to Moira now going over to the Zenyatta, and Seb going over to the BAP here is completely different than what we saw on the first map from them. And Meow, I mean, we've seen this Anna Brig DP or support line in the past, but I don't know necessarily how good it will work on the offensive side here on Hollywood.
Oh my god, Slayer discorded and just the mech was eviscerated. No chance for Slayer to ever even respond there, and Too Slow caught out in no man's land, and Meow, they tried to get something going fast, but they just faltered it even faster.
Yeah, Slayer still hasn't died yet, so they're hanging around somewhere, and you see him right there. So they're gonna be able to get back into their mech here, which is actually a good play for them. But again, this comp, you want Slayer to go in, cause a lot of distraction, allow Too Slow and Fat Dad to find those picks here if you're Meow, but you have to deal with Robbie Hash and that Discord orb now, which is a big problem, as we already learned.
All right, they're rotating around this low ground, trying to get up to the staircase. Arda flies up there as Mori continues to put shots in. They see Too Slow. They know where the Tracer is at. Can they keep Too Slow from finding any value? They're playing patient. Both teams are, as Fat Dad and Slayer go to work and burn down Robbie Hash. Adam turns around and is able to help Mori clean up the kill onto Fat Dad, but without the support, Smelvin, they've got to play safe.
Yeah, they gotta play safe, losing both their supports right there. They might be able to come back in here and get a last-second contest, but I don't know how smart that is for them.
They do get the touch. Recall is now out from Adam. Slayer looking a little, actually was low for a little bit, but then was able to get the healing and able to take down Adam, or Arda, that is. And I mean, right now, Meow, they're looking pretty good. They're comfortable.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're Smelvin, I'm wondering how much longer you guys try to stick with Arda on this diva. Hasn't necessarily worked out how they really wanted it to, because it looks like Meow's a lot more comfortable on this type of comp, and now you're seeing a lot of changes come out from Smelvin as well. The support line going over to what Meow was running, and I do like this on the defense, and so far Meow's been making it work on the offense here, and they have this high ground pressure, which can be really hard for Smelvin to get into.
I don't know if y'all saw that, but the nade that Cubes chucked hit Adam there, had to use the recall early. Too Slow's pulse bomb does not find a target, as this high ground control is oppressive for Meow at the moment. Adam has this pulse bomb ready to go, still just being harassed by the defense matrix of Slayer, who gets the nano boost, was slapped, but gets woken up very, very soon afterward. Unfortunately, it's a trade of Briggs here for these teams. Seb goes down, the self-destruct is out, does not find a target. The remech is out. It's 3 for 3 right now. Both of these teams continue to trade, but with the death of Adam here, Mori is just going to try and back up, and ugh, that's gross.
Yeah, but through all that, Meow never got off the cart, so they've been pushing it this entire time. Smelvin's gonna get an opportunity here to contest. Mori using that Bob's gonna be the thing to do it here, but Meow is in such a better spot.
Yeah, I mean, they're just gonna kite from Bob. They say, hi Bob, Bob, bye Bob. Pretty much that fight. That's that fight. Let's go. They're going.
Yeah, and Meow does have this rally coming into this fight. Smelvin is not far away from both their support ultimates here, but they need to build those things up fast without losing someone like Mori or Adam, especially Adam, who wants to disrupt that backline here for Meow.
Yeah, and Adam has called out Fat Dad, trying to take care of the Echo right now. You see Too Slow just trying to put the pulse pistols to work, getting that DPS passive rolling, and just tracks down Robbie Hash! And what a stick by Too Slow to get the support line dead alone. And right now, Smelvin Industries just cannot keep up with Meow.
Absolutely, and that's point 2 already capped there for Meow and Smelvin. They've looked like a shell of themselves from that first map here. Meow has known exactly what they want to do, and they've been working it to a T here. And you just saw it there again. I mean, it was Too Slow, able to completely disrupt that backline there, take care of both Robbie and Seb. I mean, there's no one there for Smelvin to peel back and try to save them because they're trying to stop the cart. So Meow right now is playing this game perfectly, while Smelvin desperately needs to have something change in their favor here.
They have 3 ultimates for Smelvin Industries here in this fight. We'll see which one is going to start it off. Probably the Nano Boost at some point from the Seb. The Dynamite hits Slayer here to put a little bit of pressure on, and Slayer, very, very low, decides haphazardly to engage. Now the Nano Boost onto Arda is going to force Meow back, and that was a hard misplay by Slayer.
It was a little bit, but Slayer, I mean, you could have taken that fight loss there. You're still holding on to 2, 3 ultimates, about to have 4 if you're Meow. And if you're Smelvin, I mean, you only use that Nano in that last engagement. You're going to have 4 ultimates as well here. And Bob is a little bit more valuable to me here than maybe that Pulse Bomb from Too Slow, and Adam has that Pulse Bomb ready to go as well here. But it's really going to come down to what these 2 supports do with their ultimates. Who does Cubes throw the Nano onto? Of course, it's going to go on to Slayer.
Bob comes out in response to that Nano Boost as the high ground is, I mean, just eviscerated by Meow here. Adam does trade out 2 for 2. The backline is dead for Meow. Slayer's mech very, very low. Seb being harassed by the Tracer of Too Slow, but right now, Smelvin Industries are still well in this fight as Mori rips the head off of Too Slow. Slayer also very low. Gets the healing out, but with the self-destruct kill onto Fat Dad, Smelvin Industries somehow, some way stabilized.
Yeah, honestly, just a little bit of a mistake there from Fat Dad dying after that duplicate there to that bomb from Arda really slows down Meow now. And that 4-minute time bank already got half of it gone here. Karma, though, does have the only ultimate ready to go in the early part of this fight, and I really don't see another ultimate coming on here pretty quickly. So this rally is going to be huge from Karma if they're able to find anything, but oh no.
Yeah, that is a tragedy. Meow do not have a tank right now. Slayer loses the mech early, trying to build it up, but with the death of Slayer here, there's just nothing Meow can do, and they're going to back out.
And again, this is precious time you're losing. You had 4 minutes coming into it here. 3 minutes of that is already basically gone here by the next time they come in. Meow, yeah, they have the rally. They're about to have the Nano as well, but that's basically it. Smelvin's building up to a Pulse Bomb and a Nano of their own here, so you're looking at which things find the most value here, and that Pulse Bomb from Adam landed on someone like Cubes.
Oh my god!
Huge, but Mori
just rips the head off of Fat Dad, and some great shots on the Cubes followed up by Adam. And Meow have lost every ounce of momentum they've had.
And it seems like Smelvin's finally figured out what they need to do here, and it comes from this DPS line here. Now look at the ultimates. You're about to have 3 ready for Smelvin. I think that are you talking about Fat Dad going over to the Widow here? I mean, if they can find Mori out, that opens up a lot for them here, but the Nano is out onto Arda.
Slayer was antied up a little bit there. Adam stuck the Pulse Bomb on to the Diva here as, I mean, they're just getting the ultimates out of Meow right now. The rally fades away from Karma. They just back up from there. They still have 3, though, here as the Nano Boost comes out on to Slayer, but Fat Dad is dead and buried. Adam still harassing the back line. This Diva duel in the front line going the way of Meow right now as Bob enters the fray and takes down Cubes. Somehow the mech is still there for Arda. Slayer cannot do it alone. The D-mech is out from Slayer, gets it back with the self-destruct as Fat Dad comes back and takes down Mori. Adam re-enters the fray here. Overtime, taking it now. I mean, these teams, they just cannot, inch each other out right now. The rally out, the only one on the field from Robbie Hash. They get the D-mech onto Arda. They lose the mech for the Diva. The fire is big. The dynamite is big. Slayer loses their mech. Arda is going to get traded out. Karma now is the one that's dead, and a big sleep onto the Kiriko.
to potentially put this fight away, and Meow cannot get over the hump.
And the biggest difference there for Smelvin, especially on that last point, was I talked about going into it. They really had nothing there to keep their supports alive. Meow was on the Ashe before, but they were playing away from their supports. Basically, that entirety of that last push there, Mori was standing right next to, I believe it was Seb on the Ana. They just were standing right next to them, making sure that no one from Meow got close, because if they did, there was a dynamite, there was a coach gun, and there was a shot to the head that was waiting for them there. And that allowed the rest of Smelvin Industries there just to kind of breathe and relax a little bit, and you saw how differently they played after that. But Meow, I mean, a great first 2 points there, only to be kind of stopped at the gate there at that final point. I mean, you hate to see it from them considering how good they were rolling on those first 2 points. Almost basically were never stopped other than one fight on that first point and one fight on the second point. But I mean, no big changes. I don't expect any big changes. Everyone looked great on their rolls. Mori staying on this Ashe, I think we kind of saw the value of the dynamite there, because they were always able to find onto someone like Cubes, like Karma, force them to kind of play a little bit safer, play behind a little bit more corners, and it just opened up everything there for Smelvin Industries. But hey, like I said, Smelvin Industries did not pick the map. They picked the side, and now they know what they have to do to go on the series point.
All right. I mean, yeah. Do not enter, guys. There's road work or something back there. I'm not really sure.
It's a studio set.
Yeah. But here we go. The attack for Smelvin Industries begins right now. I mean, you see Meow up there trying to control this high ground, which, you know, that's your job as the defense. You've got to control the high ground if you want to win. They're going to drop down off the high ground, actually, as Fat Dad begins to try and build up this railgun. Too slow, very low. The recall is forced out by Adam. The anti-grenade's not finding a target here. Nothing really happening thus far. Just a little bit of poking as Fat Dad continues to try to find anything with this railgun. The anti hits Arda, who just throws up the defense matrix to try and keep that down. And there we go. The floodgates are open. Mori rips the head off of Too Slow. As you see back there, Adam is going to try and follow up on the sleep. Does not quite get the job done, but a massive dynamite followed up on by an anti there. They're going to push Meow back, and they're going to get minimum tick here.
Probably going to get 2 ticks. They're going to wait for everyone from Meow to come back here, but I mean, each team was waiting for that opening. You found that opening there. Now, there's really no opening. You have to go, but Fat Dad, though.
Yeah, there's the opening as Fat Dad is able to take down Seb early. Both Divas have the self-destruct ready to go, so some remechs on the horizon more than likely. That's not a remech, that's an aggro bomb, and nobody dies to it except Aura decides to flatten Cubes into nothing. It's a trade of supports, however, as Fat Dad slides into the high ground and punches Robbie in the mouth. Adam with the backhand to take down Fat Dad. The trades continue to come through in Smelvin Industries. They have the numbers. Adam, oh my God, just chucks it downfield. It's a touchdown for Adam, and wow, killed Adam. Mori's able to kill Slayer, and it's still a 2 versus 1 in this fight. Mori comes alive and absolutely locks down the point. They get point A.
And I talked about how important Mori was to Smelvin on the defensive side there. They continue being important here on the offensive side, but Ultimates now for Meow. They have 3 here. Smelvin only going to have 2. And I mean, Meow's in a much better spot when you talk about the ultimate economy. Too Slow, if they can land a pulse bomb on someone like Seb, there's no saving them.
All right, here we go. Slayer trying to hold this mic on control, waiting. Not going to find a target with the pulse bomb. Now we're going to see the overclock from Fat Dad. We'll see what they can get with this. They've been very good with these railguns, but they fall off the high ground. But Too Slow is able to get the first pick that Meow needed. Now the disengage from Smelvin Industries will come through quick and dirty.
Yeah, and again, finding someone like Mori there was important. We've talked about how important Mori has been to Smelvin this entire map. Getting them out early, look at what it does. It gets rid of that distance pressure there from Smelvin. Adam can only do so much, Seb can only do so much. And Arda was playing safe on the low ground, but now Meow has his high ground on lockdown here. Support ultimates are ready, and I imagine you're going to see Seb probably throw that nano onto Arda as they dive onto the high ground.
Here we go. I mean, it's just cart push for free for right now as Slayer drops down to the pass. Now Arda's going to disengage and Adam is going to fall. This is not a great sign for Smelvin Industries in this fight. Slayer dives up to the high ground, knocks a couple of people off, and the elevator is going to bring him right back up. As the nano boost comes out onto Arda, the rally is there, and it's great from Karma to dissuade Arda from continuing the fight. And Meow are able to stabilize here.
And that's like the double-edged knife there with a dive kind of comp there. You saw both teams have their tanks dive on the other side, and it was just Smelvin that did not find the value from it there. It was all Meow as Slayer was on top of both their support line and Smelvin. They did not have anyone there to really save them. You saw Arda go in, but everyone from Meow was right there besides Slayer, who was just destroying the backline there. Now, 2.5 minutes to go here for Smelvin. You're coming up on a Bob, which was clutch for you last round, and a pulse bomb here, but a bomb from Arda, it might keep that fight alive, but you have the same thing ready for Slayer and Cubes, though, that nano. We saw how important it's been for both teams in the past. It has to be big here again.
All right, Bob enters the fray, but it's going to be thrown down to the low ground by Slayer from behind, who is able to take it down Mori as well. It'll be some trades here, but not going to choose to use the self-destruct is Arda, as Smelvin Industries falters again.
Yeah, I mean, you forced out 2 ultimates there from Meow, but I mean, you didn't necessarily find anything with your ultimates. Now you have Mori going over to the Widowmaker. I mean, we saw Fat Dad do this, but only stay on it for 1 life. I mean, you're looking for value and you're looking for it fast, because the longer you stay on the Widowmaker, the longer I think kind of hurts your team. You need to find those picks early just to give that team their opening you're looking for here. But Meow, they have the overclock, they have a bomb here, so they're in a pretty safe spot at the moment.
This ends now.
Slayer as the overclock comes out, not quite able to find his target there, but
There you
Mori will. There's the pick that you desperately want from Mori.
Mori?
3 for Mori. Mori.
Mori?
4.
Mori! Or like 40! Oh my god! This guy's insane!
We talked about it. If you cannot find the picks, the Widowmaker becomes a hindrance to your team. 4 picks right there. They're going to go make the swap right now. Not 4 minutes on a time back like Meow had, but 2.5. But you do not have to push it the entire way. You only have to push about 63 meters here to put yourself on a series point. Seeing swaps from both sides. Arda going back over to the Ramatra here, which is, I think, the right move. I don't think Meow will expect it here. I think they're going to expect the Diva to come back here. And now, basically, Smelvin going back to what they were running on Nepal here. Meow really struggled with this comp. You have to try to find that value early, and you need Slayer to be the focal point there and just distracting everyone for Smelvin. I mean, for Meow.
All right, here we go. Mori was on the Echo for a second, now on the Cassidy here once again, as we saw in map number 1. A massive anti-grenade there by Cubes, who gets traded out, but the trades are in the way of Smelvin Industries right now. Slayer, without the mech, there's not much that the Diva can do, but the rally, the bodyguard from Karma is here. Throws out the shield, stuck is Karma. Karma goes down, and Smelvin Industries look to put away Hollywood right here, right now. 4 meters is the distance to gain. There's a touch from Cubes. Now from Too Slow, they don't touch the point. Smelvin Industries moves to match point.
And from being almost Stonewall on the 2nd point there to just kind of rolling through the 3rd point. I mean, give a lot of credit here to Mori. I mean, I was saying, and I talked about it, if you're not finding the value with the Widowmaker, why stay on it? 1, 2, 3, 4 right there, ready to go. Opens up the 2nd point for them, opens up the 3rd point, and Smelvin completely goes back to that comp they were running on Nepal, which Meow struggled heavily into, and they struggled heavily into it again there, even with some swaps of their own. But I mean, that DPS line for Smelvin Industries absolutely came alive there towards the end of Hollywood, helping them, basically kind of carrying them to that win.
Yeah, I mean, across the board, this series has been pretty close. But when it matters the most, it is Smelvin Industries that are making the plays that count. The 4Ks from Mori, because that's the 2nd one that Mori has had in this match. I mean, the 4 pieces have been incredible. I mean, the ultimate usage from Smelvin is great. And knowing that on that 3rd point, the option wasn't the Diva, it was the Ramatra. They knew that they could just run this Diva composition down like they did on Nepal Village, and that, you know, that backline's not defenseless like the Brig Ana was. So, I mean, they were able to make these quick decisions and overcome Meow, who, you know, did look very, very strong on Hollywood. So going into Flashpoint, it's going to be Meow's map pick once more. We will see what they are going to come out with as let's see here.
I mean, there's only 2 maps.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking do we just run, keep going? We keep going, I think. Yeah. So going into Flashpoint, I'm interested to see what Meow is going to pick here.
Yeah, absolutely. But just going back to Hollywood there, especially the end, I talked about going into the map there. Those first 2 points on Hollywood, very heavy dive maps. I always consider once you get to that 3rd point, it goes away from dive. Yeah, there's still high grounds, but they're not necessarily as good as the first 2 points high grounds are. Normally you see a lot of teams go to something a little bit more defensive, something a little bit more brawly instead. And when Smelvin made those changes back over to that Ramatra rush, it really did work out for them there because, I mean, that entire composition is based around trying to get people on their same level, playing around that cart, and Meow just couldn't stay on those high grounds forever. They would have lost a lot faster. They need to try to get down to level with Smelvin. That's basically what the entire comp was wanting to do, and it really all started to go downhill for Meow there once they got that Diva demech, because it just allowed everyone for Smelvin to play a little bit more aggressively, knowing that that defense matrix was not there to eat up some damage.
Yeah, I mean, the verticality on Hollywood is very, very important for the first 2 maps, or for the first 2 points, that is. And you talked about it, how the Ramatra composition is just strong, and if you get 3 on the cart, it moves very, very fast. And because of where that golden box was for Smelvin Industries, to you know, Meow could not play safe from the high ground anymore. I mean, that cart is moving, and it Smelvin forced Meow to say, hey, you have to come to us because we're not coming to you. We don't want to take the fight to you. We're going to just sit on the cart, and if you let us push it in, we win. If you don't, we're going to kill you and win anyway.
Yeah, and my feeling is we didn't see any change there from Meow because Smelvin didn't make any changes on their 3rd point defense. They stuck with that Diva, but you saw the DPS for Smelvin really come alive there to really slow down Meow. Remember, they had 4 minutes on the clock heading into that final point push, which were taken away because the DPS there of Smelvin stepped up. I mean, they were just all over the place there in that final hold there. And same thing on offense. I mean, we talked about it there. Mori essentially was the spark plug there for Smelvin on defense. They were there, the same exact thing on offense as well, especially that 2nd point, that play of the game, the Widow 4K. I mean, Fletch, we see Widow 4Ks from time to time. Actually, not really that much. We don't see a Widow that often.
We don't see Widow that much.
we don't see Widow that much. So when someone's able to come out and find value like that, it's incredible to see. But at the same time, you have to give them a lot of credit. They found the value and then immediately knew going into 3rd point they weren't going to find that same value again. Instead, go over to the Cassidy, and look what they did. They found the first pick onto the Ana there, and that was basically it.
The more I sit here and stew about what happened on Hollywood, the more I think the story of what happened on Hollywood is, it was a story of momentum. Because for most of that map, Meow looked like the better team.
Absolutely.
Like, for 4 out of the 6 points that were played, Meow, generally speaking, were winning that map. But when it came down to it, it was Smelvin that was able to halt the momentum of Meow and steal it back themselves. I mean, Meow absolutely blitzed through the first 2 points and then just hit a wall before they could even get out to the trailer point. And that's generally where the attacks stop if they're going to stop on point C, is that very end if they don't cap it, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't even get past the door. So
No.
Smelvin Industries was able to just absolutely halt every little bit of momentum that Meow had. And then going into their attack, Smelvin started off slow, and the momentum was in the way of Meow. And once again, when the time to make a play came, Smelvin Industries were the team that makes the play. Mori with a 4K, switching over to the Ramatra to, force the fight down low. I mean, Smelvin Industries are just masterfully taking the momentum that Meow has and turning it into their own.
Absolutely, but now as we head into what could be our final map of this series, unless Meow has anything to say about it here, we're heading into New Junk City.
5,
Flashpoint and Meow right now hovering over a Mauga, which is incredibly interesting to see, but not necessarily something I'm surprised to see on this map. What I am surprised to see, though, Fletch, Fat Dad's playing Torb, which, yeah, why not? I mean, it's always Torbin time.
Okay, so we're gonna get a quick pause here. Looks like as Slayer is just going to charge in quickly. So Slayer's in at the very least, and it looks like we've got that's a bug I haven't seen in a while. Actually, is the Flashpoint tank HP bug, which very easy to fix. Just restart the map; it usually fixes itself. So that'll be a quick fix. But Mauga versus Ramatra, Dex, what you thinking?
I mean, the Ramatra can tank some damage, but not necessarily all the damage there from the Mauga. It's really going to come down to the DPS and the supports to keep those two tanks alive. But we've kind of seen it throughout this series so far. The DPS have been able to do a lot for Smelvin to open up a lot of opportunity for the tank to find a ton of value. Slayer on this Mauga might have to just kind of say, you know, not necessarily focus on the tank, try to focus on someone like Robbie, someone like Seb, because the couple fights that we saw Meow kind of dominate win, they took care of the supports early and then found the other kills.
Yeah, I mean, that's Overwatch 101 too, right?
Yeah.
You don't look at the tank unless they're absolutely inting into your backline alone. Then you look at the tank. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I really do agree. When Meow had their best fights, Robbie was dead first, or you know, the backline of Smelvin Industries went down first. And I mean, one good thing that Meow has in their corner is that Mauga is very, very good at staying alive, even more so than the Diva with that defense matrix, because that's really all he does is stay alive and put out a lot of damage, I guess. But I'm really, really interested to see. I mean, this is the first like major change that we've seen come out from Meow, with the exception of the 1 point that they played on Orisa. So this is really going to be Meow's trump card potentially.
Hey, I mean, they need something to work here, and while Mauga isn't as busted as he was, say, a month ago, I think he's still kind of in a little bit of a decent spot where you can find a lot of value with him. It's just, I mean, yeah, you talked about that. The survivability is a lot better than basically any tank they've played so far, maybe other than that Orisa, which, I mean, they did look good on, but you did see maybe a little bit of problem there with Meow. The reason that they really haven't gone back to playing the Orisa, basically everyone on Meow was kind of beholden to staying around that Orisa. They weren't really able to have a lot of flanking opportunities. They weren't really able to do a lot here. That Mauga, though, because of how, you know, pressure oriented that Mauga is, allows those DPS to kind of find those flanking opportunities. And, you know, we've seen some great plays there from those DPS from Meow. They need, though, to have that flanking opportunity. And I think this Mauga pick might actually be something they need here.
Yeah. So we do have a slight update. It looks like Karma is having some ping issues, 500 ping to be exact. So we will be seeing a substitution out for Karma. We're going to see Celestia come in for Karma on the flex support. So I assume it's going to be the same characters that we've seen Karma play, the Brig, the BAP, that kind of stuff. But I'm really interested with this substitution. Do Meow change up the formula? Like I said, I assume we're going to see a lot of the same, but maybe Celestia has a specialty or a character that they're particularly good at that Meow want to take advantage of now that they're in the lineup.
I mean, that could be something we see here, but I think you're kind of right there. I think you hit it right that we're probably going to see him playing the same supports that Karma was playing there. I think that's what they will probably do here. You're seeing when you have that kind of sub come in there, it's for that reason they play the same supports. Maybe they have a third one in their bag that we might see come out here, but still, I mean, the backs are against the wall here for Meow. Yeah, they're not against the wall completely. If they do lose this map, their playoff run is not over. They get knocked down to the lower bracket. But you want to put up a little bit of fight here because, Fletch, we came into the series talking about this is the 4 and the 5 seed technically when you look at the rankings and everything. The number 2 team from Group 1 and number 3 team from Group 2 here. So you would expect that these two teams would be kind of closely matched. And at points, it seemed like that because at points we've definitely talked about, oh yeah, Meow's looked more dominant and Smelvin's looked more dominant. But Smelvin has always just been able to kind of one-up Meow throughout this entire series. And honestly, it comes off the back of some incredible individual solo plays, like what we saw on Hollywood there with the 4K.
Yeah, and I mean, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to Smelvin has the postseason experience that Meow just doesn't have, right? I think they finished last season's console open tier in 3rd place, if I remember correctly, maybe 4th place, but regardless of where they placed, it was top 6. They were one of the best teams in CGL, the console open tier now, so or last season. So they have the experience. They know what it takes to win these series late, and we are gonna see a change from Celestia.
And the more, I mean, doesn't necessarily shock me here. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit of a change here, but I think that provides a lot more healing and a lot more damage opportunity here for them, and it allows them to play a little bit aggressively. Kind of allows them to follow around that Mauga if they need to here, because the Lucio can only do so much right now. But the interesting thing is these two teams have basically seen what each side is going to run here. This is only one little minor change for Meow, and if you're looking at Smelvin here, I'm actually surprised to see Mori come out on the Soldern. Yeah, we've talked about how just good Soldern is at almost everything, but the value they've been finding out of the Cassidy picks has just been surprising, and I'm kind of surprised we're not seeing that here. But Fat Dad on this Torb, I think, is a little bit of a make or break pick here, because if that Torb gets destroyed almost immediately, what value does the Torb really have?
Alright, well, we'll see as the turret goes down first. They're able to focus that down pretty quickly, but the fight begins as the point unlocks. These teams just playing a little bit of ring around the rosy, not wanting to get too aggressive as you see Adam drop down to the point. Now it will be Meow that as the team that drops down to the point, as Mori continues to fire from the high ground to this point. I mean, nobody's gone down yet. Fat Dad very, very low though. Can they keep the Torb alive? They cannot do that as Arda is absolutely getting bullied right now. Just thrown into a locker there is the Ramatra. But it is a trade, one that Meow prefers actually. So as Cardiac Overdrive comes in and Mori has overclock already, and Adam got a kill with a full bump, I guess. I mean, just the rapid building of the ultimates is what led Smelvin Industries to win this, and they shouldn't have won that fight.
They shouldn't have, but I mean, we talked about the DPS for Smelvin here have just been incredible this entire series, and it's off the back of Adam and Mori that they won that fight. And the thing that hurts me out there is they used their Coalescence, but losing Fat Dad this early also does hurt them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, with the death of Fat Dad there, they're just going to disengage for the time being, and they'll only have maybe one more shot now to try and take this point.
Yeah, and Fat Dad getting off with the Torb, going over to the Tracer is the much better pick here, but Smelvin, I mean, they have the beat, they have a Coalescence of their own here. Slayer going to be able to build up to that cage fight here pretty quickly. Smelvin does have 2 good ultimates to kind of shut that down, and Arda's not far away from Annihilation if they want to make that cage fight a living hell.
Here we go, sound barriers out from Cube to get this fight going. The Coalescence trying their damnedest to keep this Ramatra up through the cage fight, but they're able to break the shield fast. So the cage fight is over as Smelvin hits 99%. Robbie Hash in the Lucio duel able to diff cubes there. Slayer falls to Mori, and Robbie Hash getting himself a little 2-piece to clean up the arena here, as it will be Smelvin Industries taking the lead on New Junk City. Ooh.
And just kind of pouring some salt in the cut right there. It's going to be Mori finding Fat Dad right there. It ended, and now you see Meow making a swap here. Slayer going over to this Orisa. Cubes going over to the Kiriko. I do like these swaps, but I mean, you're a little bit behind in some ultimate fights here. Too slow getting off with a Reaper when they were so close to a death blossom kind of hurts me there a little bit, especially since Smelvin is coming up to both DPS ultimates and that Annihilation, which remember, both DPS ultimates essentially won them the first point cap here, and they never let it go after that. So Meow, they have a little bit of a tough engage here, but Celestia's coming up and
God,
cute.
Mori just rips the fight open again. The pulse bomb is out from Fat Dad, but look at Mori behind them. They don't know where the man is at ever, as Mori continues to put on an insane performance.
And remember how I talked about those ultimates for Smelvin, kind of thinking that those they could be used there to kind of win that point? Yeah, they didn't use them. They didn't use anything. Meow, though, on the other hand, I mean, they're going to have a coalescence coming into this fight here, but you're now looking at Fat Dad and Too Slow on two characters that everyone considered got nerfed in today's patch. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they play. But Celestia and this coalescence, I mean, it needs to be big, but you're also running into 3 pretty strong ultimates.
All right, here we go.
Oh, my goodness, Mori.
Guess who? Guess who, guys? Mori rips the head off of Celestia once again and stays alive somehow. Able to kill Slayer before going down to Too Slow. Pulse bomb is out from Adam. Not going to find a target, but I mean, they lose so many numbers, but they never lose grasp of the fight.
And Smelvin, I mean, they only use the... Oh, no. Oh, no, Celestia. Celestia, oh... I think after that you kind of have to switch there, and that, you want to know what that also does? It costs them the point here. I don't think they're gonna be able to get another touch here in Smelvin. They have the ultimates to basically win it anyway, but not even gonna happen. Smelvin gonna have 4 ultimates ready to go into this next fight at the next flashpoint here. Meow gonna have 2, but like Smelvin's been holding on to the overclocking and Annihilation now for 2 fights, and they've been demonstrating they don't need to use ultimates to win fights here. They want Meow to really respond, but that pulse bomb though.
Yeah, great pulse bomb there onto Robbie Hash. They don't have the sound barrier anymore, but the coalescence is able to stabilize them through this fight late, and they're able to actually disengage here.
Yeah, they're going to be able to disengage straight to point and probably cap it. Meow's nowhere near it here. Meow, though, will have 3 ultimates ready to go. That EMP and the continuous will be huge here, because I mean, the EMP could negate the beat, could stop that Annihilation here from Arda, but Adam very low.
Arda has to throw up the fist, going to pop that Nemesis form, the Terra Surge. Absolutely just finding nothing, unfortunately, for Slayer. 25% now for Smelvin Industries. They've still got 3 ultimates. Slayer trying to find something, anything here as the damage is done. Adam and Robbie Hash are dead, but Mori continues to be an absolute monster! The man is insane! Mori absolutely taking over this lobby all alone. Arda is the source of the attention, but Mori once again drops 4 kills!
And again, I mean, we talked about, it's just been the individual plays that have really kind of opened up this series for both sides, and Mori has now done 2 maps in a row, and I don't think Meow's going to get back to get a touch there. Smelvin capped that point during that fight.
Yeah, 90% now. It's going to have to be the touch from Too Slow here with the EMP. Fat Dad and Too Slow are ready to go. There'll be a touch here. The EMP has to be big if Meow wants to stay alive, but Fat Dad is able to take down Adam early here, so the flip will come through for Smelvin, or for Meow, but Smelvin will just disengage. They know they have all the time in the world.
And especially with losing Arda there, yeah, that disengagement's going to come right now, but for Meow, this is a great fight for you. Basically, you're being able to build up to all 5 of your ultimates now. You're in a really good spot, but you do not let Mori pop off right now, because that's the worst thing that could happen. Yeah, you lost Too Slow, but guess what? Too Slow, playing one of the quickest heroes in the game at the moment, so they should be able to get back to this fight pretty fast, but
Fat Dad, what are you doing?
Don't let Mori pop off. Just don't. Like, here's the thing. You're coming into this fight with 3 ultimates. Both your support ultimates should be able to win you this fight on their own.
All right, here we go. Hack is out onto Adam. Adam gets the recall, though. Now the Kitsune Rush in the face of the Coalescence. The EMP is big. It hits 3. Terra Surge now. Robbie Hash. Ajaxes. The sound barrier is gone. And Meow might have just saved their map with an incredible... Well, they used 4 ultimates, but they just saved their map. They're still alive.
Hey, they use 4 ultimates, but at this point, if you don't use them and you lose that fight, you're gonna question it for the rest of your life there. And that EMP was just so big for too slow. It got rid of Seb's coalescence and it really shut down anything else that Smelvin wanted to do there. But now, Smelvin looking like they're in a much better spot here to get to this next flashpoint. Gonna be very difficult for Meow now to engage in anything, considering they just used 4 ultimates. Fat Dad does have this pulse bomb ready to go. I don't see it necessarily making too big of a deal here, but there's really nothing that anyone on Smelvin can do to cancel it out unless you stick it on someone like Arda or Adam.
Okay, Adam, low, recalls, you know, able to force too slow out the pulse bomb out. Not gonna find Adam there. The disrespect pulse bomb was almost very, very good, but Adam is able to get away from that fight with 6 HP, which is a little silly, but the spear going to knock Smelvin back for the time being. Now the overclock for Mori, which is always a terrifying thought when Mori has a railgun ready to go. Not quite able to take down the Tracer, but Cubes is able to open the fight up. Slayer does go down, but Arda is able to keep this fight afloat. Somehow alone able to take down Slayer and too slow, but Cubes is not ready to give this fight up just yet. The Lucio trying to jump on to Celestia there. Robbie has booped back and away, but Fat Dad's still going. Pulse bomb's out. Does not find a target. The Ramatra able to track down Celestia. The Annihilation comes out and it will fade away here very, very soon. But right now, Smelvin Industries are just playing their lives so perfectly. They cross the 60%, now 70% for Smelvin Industries. They are just they just refuse to die.
And right now, Meow is so close to capping that point, it hurts them, but they do find one, but immediately gets traded out here. Meow does have some ultimates here. That rally from Celestia is gonna have to be the make or break one here, but Seb can pop up with their Coalescence.
Coalescence out from Seb. The damage is there to take down Celestia. Too slow follows, and the Coalescence, the healing, the damage, the orbs out. It'll be, I mean, Fat Dad left as Mori comes back on the Cassidy, rips Fat Dad's head off, and that will very well do it here, I believe, on New Junk City. 95% now. There's no shot anybody touches this point. That will do it for this series. Smelvin Industries 3-0 over Meow to move on in this upper bracket. I mean, Dex, that series is not defined by the scoreline that it finishes, though.
And no, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, those first 2 maps were very, very close, but New Junk City, however, I feel like this was Smelvin Industries map. Meow, yeah, they did win that 1 point, but it looked like Smelvin knew what they were kind of doing that entire time. Meow, they had to invest a lot to win that point. I think kind of hurt them there a little bit, but yeah, Fletch, this series was incredibly close. I mean, we could talk about it there a little bit. Hollywood, I think, was the biggest one that we could point and say, if Meow wins that map there, they're right back in this series, tied 1-1, and I feel like they were going to have the momentum in their favor, but I think getting stopped on their offensive push round and then just kind of getting rolled over when Smelvin got to that point really did hurt them there a little bit. But at the same time, I mean, both teams are kind of dealing with this today. Just the servers right now, because of the new patch, aren't necessarily the best. Both teams are playing at above 100 ping.
Yeah. What I respect, though, is that they refuse to let that stop them from playing. So, I mean, that's just competitive integrity, or maybe not. Maybe that's not the right word, but these players, they just want to play. They're here because they love the rush of competition, and they don't, like, obviously they're annoyed that their ping is high, but they're just like, hey, I'm here to play Overwatch, and even if my ping is high, I'm still gonna dominate. And that was exactly what happened. I will say, I think that what I said at the end of Hollywood still rings true, is that this story was this match was a story of how Smelvin just wrestles momentum away from Meow. Because like I said, most of Hollywood, the momentum was Meow favored. Smelvin was able to clutch up in both sides of the map to win, and then Meow came into New Junk City gassed. I mean, they didn't look like the same team that we saw on Hollywood or Nepal, for that matter. Smelvin Industries took the momentum that they stole from Meow, and they They just doubled it, tripled it, quadrupled it. They just absolutely rolled over Meow in map number 3, and moving into the rest of this playoff, this is just the first match. Smelvin Industries, I'm looking at as a team, as a potential dark horse. They're very, very good. They had a little bit of a worse season than they would have liked to. I see their players posting on Twitter about it all the time, about how this season was a little disappointing, but it doesn't matter. As long as you're in the playoffs and you're able to heat up at the right time, your regular season doesn't matter. If you can take it and run into the postseason, I mean, Smelvin Industries at their peak, like we just saw there with Mori and Adam popping off like they are, at their peak, they're a scary team in this console open tier.
Yeah, absolutely. But going back to what you were saying there about Meow on New Junk City, I mean, it just seemed like they were kind of throwing stuff at the wall, hoping something would work there, and it just didn't. But I don't blame them for trying that. The Malga, like I said, can really cause that Ramatra to really not find a lot of value, but it's just this Smelvin team seems like they know exactly what to do going into everything there. And remember, in that first engagement on New Junk City, Arda was the first one taken out of the fight, but it was just ultimates there from each side, really both DPS ultimates coming out from Smelvin, which really won them that fight, and they never really looked back from it there. And again, I brought up another great point. It just seems like Smelvin is great at just siphoning momentum away from people, being able to just kind of turn the tide of the game into their favor whenever they want. But when you have players like Mori who are able just to find, I think they found 2 or 3 4Ks, or at least 1 4K every map.
One every map, yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like they were like plays like that change momentum almost immediately, and you just really never saw Smelvin give it up after those kind of moments came out, and allowed the rest of the team to play a lot more freely there. So yeah, this Smelvin team, like you said, a little bit of a dark horse here, number 4 overall seed, but they have already moved themselves into the next round of that upper bracket. Meow, season not over yet. They get knocked down to the lower bracket where they will be fighting to keep their season alive.
Yeah, so we're still early in the playoffs. It's so early. There's so much time left in these open tier brackets, 16 team double elimination brackets. There is going to be plenty of CGL Overwatch to come in the next month or so. So keep an eye on the Twitch notifications, follow us on Twitter, all that good stuff. And I mean, it just should be an absolutely incredible playoffs to come. So thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great night. Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through! It's just gonna solidify everything within those.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're gonna be able to find these shots true.
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Anvil immediately comes back to find skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3. So back and forth.